So we have the same issue you have. We have to bring more food in and
You have to truck it in.
truck it in, baby.
Geez.
Drive.
That's not good. I had a all right. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Finance for the town of Summers, July 22nd, 2025. We have Bill Stonko, Kathy Devlin, Paul Hart, Joe Talisano, Mike Parker, and Brian Wissinger, our Chief Financial Officer, present. I suppose the first item is from the Board of Ed, an update. You have something for us, Sam?
Very minimal. Good evening. Two things I'd like to brief the Board of Finance on is there's been information sent out about $53.6 million in federal fund withholding. We figured out any exposure to the Board of Ed would be a little bit over $28,000. So we're kind of in limbo on that, but to that end, there's a meeting tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. with the Commissioner of Education regarding this topic. So when I receive that information, I'll brief this committee with that new information that I find. And we are still tracking to return money to the town. And the board did not meet this month, so there's no hard copy financial report to submit this month.
It's still about $100,000.
That's correct.
Okay. Any further questions for Dr. Galloway? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Board of Selectmen.
Got a couple of things I want to mention. First of all, sort of prelude to what Brian's going to be talking about later, and that is he wants to establish a 250th anniversary fund. And what this is every town in the state has been requested by the governor to put together a celebration for the signing of the Declaration of Independence 250th anniversary. So I didn't think too much about it to begin with, but the more I thought about it, I thought that this would be a great opportunity to as part of the town celebration, to hold it at the Blake Center. And the reason I thought that would be a good idea is because, number one, they've got a replica of Monticello, which is the house that Jefferson built, Jefferson being the primary author of the Declaration of Independence. Also, they have an opportunity to bring in a speaker or two. They could talk about the importance of the history of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, for that matter. Also, they have experience in hosting large crowds, and they can take care of it. They've got parking that they can apply if need for whatever purposes. They've got fallback positions. It's, of course, not without controversy. It's because it's known to be a sort of non-political, conservative organization. There are people in town that have said, I won't step foot on that property. I mean, I've heard that from people. And, to each his own. I mean, it's an opportunity, I think, to be an educational opportunity for the public. Also for the town to appreciate the grounds of the Blake Center. It's some of the prettiest property in town. And to try to figure out what kind of entertainment and event we'd like to sponsor with the Blake Center itself. And the thinking is that it would involve music, speakers, and
Dancing girls.
No, we're not going to have dancing girls. No, we're not going that far, but
No?
it is summertime.
Good idea at the time.
Guests weren't available.
But they talked about, the opportunity to, if people were interested, having a tour of the Blake Center itself and see some of the historic artwork they have in there that relates to the period of the Declaration of Independence. And we thought this would be, the nice thing about this event would that it be a town-wide event. It would involve lots of groups in town, participants like the Rotary, the Lions, Knights of Columbus, American Legion Post 101, the Sportsman's Club, the schools if possible. It's certainly an educational opportunity to learn a little bit about our history of our country and what our country is all about. So we're still, we've got a planning committee we put together, and we're, of course, always open to new members, whoever would like to participate. We picked up a new one today from Ann Levesque. She expressed an interest in wanting to participate and said, "I'd love to have you. That'd be great." I said, "Please, next time, remember to bring your hearing aids." She came without them, and I had to speak very loudly to get my message across. But we worked it out. So that's one event I wanted to mention, and Brian, of course, is going to follow up on that later.
Tim, can I interrupt?
Please.
So or I know, history is open to interpretation, so I would have some interest in who the speakers are going to be.
Yeah, I'm interested too, needless to say. I want to make sure that they have a message that is educational, that is accurate, and is not particularly slanted in any one direction.
Okay.
Absolutely. I appreciate that remark. And also, I should mention that we thought we had a meeting, a smaller meeting with Reverend Alan Crippen is a new director of the Blake Center, and thought that it might be better not to have it around the 4th of July, maybe to have it sometime in August to not interfere with everything else that's going on with regards to the 4th of July, and also have it before kids have to start thinking about going back to school. So we're thinking about the 14th and 15th of August, 2026. And I'm glad you mentioned that comment, because any old speaker that the Blake Center has had has been very high order, hard to understand, and there's only a certain part of the population that would appreciate it, and we really need something that everyone can identify with, everyone can learn from, and walk away smarter than they were when they got there. The second item I wanted to mention is that the Department of Housing, I've had a conversation yesterday with the commissioner, and we've got a Zoom meeting with her tomorrow that relates directly to our request to get on the Bond Commission's agenda, whether it be a meeting that they've scheduled for next week or the next meeting in the fall. And she, her name is Ciela. I can't quite remember her. Mascara Bruno, that's it. Yeah. The last name's hyphenated. Yeah. And she just wanted to talk to me directly and just understand as best she could the level of commitment behind this project by the wind company. I said, that's a great question. And I think it just definitely opens up lines of communication that it's an opportunity for wind to come in and convince everyone that they're totally committed to this project. And it would include, of course, their budget, design, and various other things are involved. And we've asked for $5 million from the governor's office, the Bond Commission. And I mentioned before, I've previously spoken to his chief of staff, and in the meeting tomorrow, I think that the commissioner is going to focus primarily on this issue of what level of commitment do we have by the developer to see through this project. Because, of course, they don't want to just spend time authorizing $5 million if it's just going to sit on the shelf. Nothing's going to happen to it. So they want to put it to work. But she also said that the governor likes the project. He's definitely interested in it. It's provides 80% of it is going to be low-income housing, and this is an opportunity where there aren't any particular zoning challenges like other towns have, and that this is a small Republican town where he could identify he's done something that's not all related to Democrats, particularly in the time when he's running for re-election next year. And so we'll see how that goes. But we've got Brian's going to be on the call. Mike Marinaccio has made himself available to help us out in a consulting mode. This is a project that he'd be very effective at helping us with. And Todd Rowland will also be on the call. Any questions?
Questions for Tim? No. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. Brian, you have something for us?
Yes, like Tim said, we are very busy time of year, obviously, year-end closeout. As you'll see, there's no report, no budgetary report either from us. I didn't want to give you something that showed, June 30th numbers, and then a month later they've all changed because we still have invoices trickling in that'll get dated back. We're still finalizing all the tax revenues and so forth. So in September, you'll get a full year-end closeout, and then we'll, show July and August as well of the new year. Tax season is in full swing, as we expected. Quite a few angry people about the car bills this year. We have heard a lot about it. We have directed them, to let their representatives know how they feel about it. And we have zero control over it like we used to have. And I think I've explained to quite a few taxpayers that wanted to talk to me individually about it. I understand the reasoning why the state did it the way they did it. I just think they did a poor job of implementation of it. But I understood their reasoning. I agree with their reasoning. I just don't agree with the way they rolled it out. Reval is almost completed as well. Still, where they're catching up on the building permits, old building permits that never got closed out. So some properties in town, from 10 years ago still had that they were finishing their basement, and it's been finished for 10 years now, and we were never assessing it properly. So a lot of cleanup this time around. The last reval we just did mailers, and some people mail them back, some people don't. This year was a little differently, a little bit more in depth. So we're picking up a lot of new things with the reval. My guess will be somewhere in the 30 to 35% increase to the grand list when it's all said and done, which will make budget season next year a little bit different. We'll be looking at potentially reducing the mill rate quite a bit if things continue to trend the way they are. Which doesn't necessarily mean lower taxes; it just means lower,
Lower advertising.
lower mill rate, lower.
No.
Anything else?
Would you include in the workload that's placed on your shoulders? So we've talked about this before, about the P&L through the end of June 30th for the ambulance.
Yes, I actually just finished that up yesterday. I will email that out to you tomorrow.
Okay. Sounds
So-
good.
Okay. Brian, did you say the reval was being done through the mail, or how's that being done?
So they did send out mailers, but they've also, the company drove around all of May, some of April, drove around and actually visually inspected quite a few properties in town, and compared to what was on the property card versus what was actually there, found quite a bit of variances. And then when they looked back through the building permits, there was like, I want to say it was like well over 700 building permits that had never been closed off on properties in town. And so Karen had to sit and go through every one of them one by one, property by property, permit by permit, and verify that it was completed, correct the values, and so forth. Karen's been
Undertaxing those properties
yes,
for years?
they've been under assessed for close to 10 years.
Do we sue the previous building inspector?
Well, he's dead, so.
We got him then.
Yeah.
Nice try, though. Yeah. Jeez. Okay, well, that will make life a little easier next
Yep.
season.
Yep.
Any further questions for Brian? Joe?
Yeah, we have a package put together to do some parking lots at the school system, Field Road. It's a bond. We have a five-year plan or 3-year plan?
5-year plan.
5-year plan on roads. This is the second installment.
Second and third year.
Yeah, on that process, and you have a resolution before you for $3.5 million that will go before the voters, I believe, in November.
Right.
So, and that was approved by the CIP.
It was initially a $2 million sequence.
I think we'll say around
Brian pointed out, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Please,
No,
I'm sorry, I know what to do.
So Brian pointed out that it was less costly to roll the last two into
Yep.
one bonding and ban issue. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yep.
So we're trying to consolidate.
Yeah, the issuance costs, will save about $60,000 on issuance costs. And depending on, you never know where the market's going to be a year from now, 2 years from now. And so depending on the price of oil 2 years from now, you could get a bigger bang for your buck. Depending on what the Fed does over the next 2 years, you could get even lower and more favorable interest rates. And so, and at the same time that we would be issuing, so this would be in right around May or April of 2027. The first payment would be due in 2028, and we have debt that falls off at the same time. So it's just replacing really the debt that comes off. So there's no new tax dollars needed to continue the program. It doesn't make any new tax dollars.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, I propose a motion by the Board of Finance, a resolution authorizing an appropriation of $3.5 million for road and parking lot improvements and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds and notes in anticipation of such bonds in the amount not to exceed $3.5 million, as well as in establishing a date for a referendum.
I hear a second. Any further discussion?
So my thought is, I see something here for 726 for the schools, and then the 3.5. Does that include more than the schools?
No, so the 3.5 includes the 726. The parking lots at the elementary, high school, and Field Road Park weren't originally part of the roads plan. And it, based on the dollar amounts, it made sense to roll them in based on their level of need. It made sense to roll them in with this package and do the parking lots and the roads over those 2 years. And then with years 4 and 5, we'll look at Mabel B. Avery as well as Vision Boulevard as part of that package.
So this is an addendum to the original.
Yep, right.
The 3.5 includes.
But the 3.5 includes the parking lots. Yep.
Good question.
I remember that. Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
I'll get you to sign stuff later.
What's that?
Bill's got to sign off on it later.
We've already discussed the establishment of the fund a little bit. Is there? I know that
The date of the referendum mentioned, you're going to mention the date. of the
Yeah,
referendum?
you guys set the date.
Okay.
You already said it. Yeah.
Fourth of November.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, so as Tim mentioned, the governor requested that all towns put together celebration of the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. In early plannings, we started to realize that obviously we're going to need sponsors to be on board. This can't be 100% town funded process here. It'll be way too much. The flip side of that is people donate money, they want to see where their money actually goes to and what it involves. So I'm requesting to create basically a temporary fund during the time of now until the completion of the celebration to track the donations as they come in, any general fund contributions that might be part of the budget, and any interest that is earned on those dollars in the meantime as well, to be able to track the revenues coming in, the expenses going out, being able to make it as transparent as possible for anybody who would want to see it. And then once the celebration is over, we would move to close the fund. I even put in the order in which the funds would be spent, that donations would be spent first, earned interest would be spent second, any monies from the general fund would be spent third. That way any monies that are remaining in the fund would go back to the general fund upon its closure, and there would never be any question of, were those general fund dollars? We would expend them in a certain order.
I think it's a great idea.
Brian, I have no objection to establishing the fund. I do have some concern about the reference to within the document that the Board of Finance might authorize funds to support the event.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should be out of it. I think that if in the last of the ninth inning the fund needs money to pull the thing off, then we can appropriate money.
Yep.
But I don't think we should be in there as a player.
I meant it more like if it's part of the budgetary process, the Board of Finance authorizes that.
But if our name is in there, if the Board of Finance is in there as somebody who might potentially, because we will be giving money, and that might deter other people. I'd much rather see it a project of the town. And if in the last, as I say, if in the last of the ninth inning there's additional funding required, then we can step up. But I don't think we should be a part of the fund.
Okay. What part are you referencing? Just so.
Well, wherever it references the funds from the Board of Finance.
All right.
I mean, there's nothing that prevents us from deciding to add money to it.
Yeah, no, you're just the fiscal authority. When I was putting it together, I was thinking as we build the fiscal 27 budget, there might be a line item in the general fund budget that's transferred for the celebratory costs.
Well, now that we've also increased the amount that we can advance without a town meeting,
assuming it passes at referendum, yes.
Assuming that passes at referendum,
Yep.
I mean, I think it'd be better off to have the townspeople believe that this is their project.
Yeah, no, that's fine with me.
So it's C under contributions to the fund.
Yeah. I really like it.
Okay. Yeah.
I like that idea.
We can remove that wording. That's not a problem.
The second page has a few.
I think that also allows Tim to try to, if you're trying to get this to work, Tim, to get this to work without any questions on the Board of Finance supporting a speaker that
Yep.
would be more pro or con or whatever. This leaves it you and the townspeople that are deciding what to do and how to do it, okay?
Yeah.
And if you need our help at the end because of some shortfall, we can deal with that.
I suspect you will.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right.
I mean, I don't know. But
I think it's best to be prospective. And I understand what you're saying is that if the town Board of Finance is mentioned, it somehow takes the heat off individual contributors, but I'm not sure I really understand that. I mean, I think I understand what your position is, but I don't believe it's
Well, see how it goes.
Yeah.
See how it goes. I mean, we can always backstop it if it's necessary, right?
Do you have a sense of what it'll cost?
Go ahead, yes, Brian.
Realistically, I think the whole celebration will be in that 50 to 75 range. We're hoping to fundraise, realistically 50 to 75% of that. We're still in the early stages of what different sponsorships will get you. So I'm looking at specific potential sponsors for specific items. Some of the, we don't have to pay any rental to use the property. Some of the early discussions with, food vendors and so forth would be to, waive the fees for them to be able to come in, and in return, they're not charging us anything. We don't charge them, and then they charge the customers as, they purchase food. So ways to, kind of shave costs as well. The biggest parts will be, any entertainment, any, carnival games or anything like that may become part of it.
Okay, thank you.
We had initially talked about fireworks, but you can never plan too well for fireworks, because if it's dry, you got to cancel it. If it's windy, you got to cancel it. If it's raining, you got to cancel it. So you need, the absolute perfect day. We've instead been looking at laser light drone shows. And doing something like that and telling a story in the sky with drones instead of using fireworks. Things of that nature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have a motion.
So I move to
Approve the 250th Anniversary America Fund as amended. And just for clarification, as amended, just involves striking the references to the Board of Finance.
Yep.
All right.
accept the oversight part.
Yeah, except for the
Except for
oversight.
the oversight.
Funding part.
Yeah,
We
the
want
funding.
to,
Yep.
as Bill correctly knows, keep our finger on the very pulse of everything.
Want to get ahead of
Any further discussion? All in favor? Carries. I don't believe there's other business, is there?
other one here.
We have minutes from June 24th, 2025.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second, any further discussion on the minutes?
I'm good.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Joe, I think. Move to adjourn.
Second? Second.
There seems to be consensus in that regard. Thank you. Thank you, members of the town, for attending. I appreciate
Yeah, that's just a little